And she certainly was one of the highlights of the Games.
Well, speaking of world-class performances, that men's 100 metres.
Oh, yes, that was really tremendous, you know, and almost all the sprint events were done in an incredibly fast times. You know, the sprinters were really outdoing themselves. And, you know, Australia in general has just done so far beyond what we could ever believe. We, as you said before, we are definitely on the map. We just have to make sure that we keep going, that we keep this impetus going, that all of those people who have done remarkably well continue in the sport and keep up the standard that we've got. And I think we really should be giving a big thanks to the Australian Institute of Sport that's been responsible for a lot of these performances.
Well, I'm sure that the athletes, I wonder if we'll see a breaking of ranks as we sometimes do at closing ceremonies. The closing ceremony about 10 minutes away, and to take you through that will be your Masters of Ceremonies, Norman May, along with Geraldine Duke. Perhaps I should have put Geraldine first, but that's coming up in about 10 minutes from now. But we're going to look at a replay now of the men's 1500 metres.
And techniques were implemented.
I think we've seen the emergence of a
7 gold medals. She equals Marjorie Jackson's record as a Scottish track athlete, and she got a great farewell, and she went down with flying colours.
She certainly did.
You know, the margin was 1/50th of a second.
Is that right?
Yes, 0.02 of a second. But anyway, the crowd here is what you see it now looking down from the top. A wonderful tribute here to all the officials, because they've been marched in and put right round the running tack. You can see them just outside the track there. They're all the officials in their yellow, their dark blue and white from every venue used in these games. And there's the scoreboard indicating Edmonton 78, Brisbane 82, bottom right-hand corner, Edinburgh 1986, the next games. The display is about to start. It goes for half an hour. Now, we haven't seen a rehearsal of this. I should think the public address will tell you this. We'll just sit back. If we need to say something, we will, but I think we're going to see all this, and here it is, taken off by the group from the Tonga Police Band. sequence by the National Dance Company of Zimbabwe. And here's Her Majesty the Queen with Sir Alexander Ross, the National Theatre of Nigeria, the Maori group and the dancing group from Papua New Guinea, and they follow in sequence behind Matilda.
There's that great show again at the stadium, most of which you mentioned earlier will be sold off to Japan. I think most of the stands are already going to be shipped away. And this is the National Dance Company of Zimbabwe. Followed by the dreaded Matilda with those amazing eyes. Both of which blink, so I'm not quoted again for saying only one of them works. I gather, Norman, you're actually up on the board of the ABC broadcast studio as a winner of the tautology stakes. So there's only one word for it: protest dismissed.
That's right. The one word was dismissed.
This very much a celebration rather than a presentation, this ceremony we're watching now. A celebration of all the countries who've taken part in these games.
As we mentioned here, the groups of the National Dance Company of Zimbabwe, they'll be on the right-hand side. The National Theatre of Nigeria next to them, the Maori group, and on the left-hand side, the group from Papua New Guinea. And over there too, we have some Mounties coming on the extreme left-hand side if you see them when we get a wider shot.
By the National Theatre of Nigeria performing their national dance. It's a short segment from a Nigerian opera.
And the scoreboard announces the next group, the dancers from Papua New Guinea.
the Papua New Guinean dancers. And now we're waiting to be told who the next group are. Ah, this is the National Dance Company of Zimbabwe back again.
Still wearing identification cards for the games. That's an amazing thing. They're obviously athletes and they're the E-cards they wear. And this is the Dance Company of Nigeria. And they're going to be replaced by our Maori friends from across the Tasman.
Just to remind you that this cultural festival was started only in Edmonton when the Sri Lankan government approached the organisers of the Edmonton Games requesting that they be given permission to send a cultural rather than an athletic team. So this is the next stage on. Receiving a great applause from what I know I've already seen as a big group of New Zealanders in the crowd today. And now everybody's assembling for the Dragon Dance. This huge dragon, or group of them, here he is now, is about 200 feet in length, and it's the longest of its kind in the southern hemisphere. The dragon of the Australian Chinese Association. Now we're seeing here an authentic Chinese dragon dance. In the spring, the mythical dragon dances to chase away all evil spirits. That's supposed to bring good luck and prosperity to all who see it. I'm not quite sure whether Matilda falls into that category or not. She seems to have been blinded by the smoke.
Crowd now, you saw there just briefly, bidding fond farewell to Matilda. She's leaving the scene, going through the exit gate now, and one of the great stars of these games.
Left to me to actually get down to the details of what it is, but the dragon is actually constructed of bamboo, paper mache and fabric, and it requires about 100 people to operate. So it's quite a complex little achievement.
Now, this is the float from the New York. It's sponsored by a hotel here. It's a reminder that a group of people in the United States haven't been a member of the Commonwealth since 1776, they tell us. But this is a Sanguma is a tribal rock group from Papua New Guinea. Just away to the left there is the ABC float. Geraldine?
We don't often wave our flag like this, not quite yet, but just out of the picture. Our eager eyes have spotted it. The ABC float for all to see. I don't know what to say. I don't think it looks like either of us, Norman.
Well, we can say it's a world representation there. This coverage from the ABC for these games has, in fact, gone round the world because, as we said in the opening ceremony, the sun never sets on the old British Empire, so the coverage really has gone right round the world. And the float itself won an award at the Festival of Brisbane session.
We don't... front of me a release from the Minister of Communications, Mr. Neil Brown. I'll just read one paragraph of it. It says, praising our efforts at the ABC, it's doubtful whether any other broadcasting organisation in the world could have produced a better or more thorough coverage of a major sporting event such as the Games. So with that, we'll pat ourselves on the back. We won't do it for too much longer.
Now, this is a very famous boat, just so the parakeet there. It's a very popular one with the Warana Parade, and it flaps his wings as it moves about in front of the home crowd. But we have all sorts of groups here, the Solomon Island Dance Group, the Indian Instrumentalists, the Ritaman Group. But this truly is representative of all the countries of the Commonwealth.
With a steel band, Norman.
Good piece on the scoreboard there that they say this is Queensland's own Big Bird, because Big Bird, we had the group there from the West Indies. The Big Bird over there is the famous cricketer Joel Garner.
Indeed he is. What I thought was a marvellous touch, just going back to the events we saw before the ceremony began, was the Jamaicans coming over to congratulate Angela Taylor, who won for the Canadians in that superb relay. Marvellous sight. Raylene Boyle congratulating her and the Jamaicans, where she is originally from.
Yes, that's the Jamaican steel band there. Group dancing with traditional dances from Fiji. They're dressing for traditional, my goodness, Fijian costumes, which obviously don't hamper them in any way. Yes, I've just been told, and of course I was wrong again, it was Sri Lankan group who instigated the cultural festival in the first place. My apologies. Fijians just passed us by out of shot. Matilda is going to make one more appearance through the stadium. There was an anticlimax before. She wasn't leaving. She's going to come back in to end the parade. And here's Matilda, one more circuit of the course.
And a small ceremony from Malta now, the island of Malta, the island of the George Cross. time the Queen has seen Matilda, I've just realised. No wonder she's looking so amazed.
The crowd really roaring now because Matilda has just been turned around by a whole host of officials. You just can't see her, and she's coming back onto the track. And Matilda's farewell performance has been announced on the scoreboard. And she's right in front of Her Majesty the Queen and the famous Matilda wink for royalty.
Yes, she looked as amazed as I felt. And here come the Joeys, the trampolinists again. With a game symbol, a game's flag.
We've achieved immortality here. The ABC symbol has come out from the middle of Matilda.
The skydivers, the poor skydivers who were thwarted during the opening ceremony because of those extraordinarily high winds. The same 9 skydivers are involved in a display jump this time. So let's hope they can land a little bit better. The conditions are much, much better, I think, for them than they were last time. Squares, the canopies they're jumping with, are especially made for the Commonwealth Games. They're made of 7 panels, 2 red, 2 blue and 3 white. And the Commonwealth Games symbol is overlaid on all of them. Especially formed for the opening ceremony display.
And how's that for a shot? Right over the stadium. Let's see if they can come straight down. Magnificent photography there.
Shot of that skydiver. Look at that picture. The first of 9.
And as the skydivers come down, hundreds and hundreds of balloons are being released. A very spectacular sight. And here they come. And the crowd have been asked to let their streamers go. There are hundreds and hundreds of balloons. What a shot that is.
The crowd suddenly found its voices, its feet and its hands, clapping wildly. It's a great sight. Streamers right around the crowd being let off everywhere. Red, white, blue, purple. Millions of them, I'd say.
They don't speak your language, but still will understand. And we build communications with every other land. For your country troubles, joy and peace. We thank you for being here. We'll see you in 4 years. You are here to run like lightning, and to lift to your arms rose. And don't let the road lose us here, put your country first. We're here to Australia, prove your success again. We say farewell, your baby, hope we see you all again. The world grows even smaller, there's still so much to learn about the different ways and customs and the people's lives and turn. And as we stand here together, with peace and trust within, remember why you came here. You came out here to win. So you aim to hit your bullseye, and you threw your weight around. You rose up like an eagle, and you tossed it through the ground. You were there to land a big one, and you swung to your arms beyond. You were up there with the champions, you know what that's about. You brought to us your friendship, through the joy and through the tears. So thanks a lot for coming, and we'll see you in 4 years. So you aim to hit your bullseye, and you threw your weight around. You rose up like an eagle, and you tossed them to the ground. You were there to land a big one, and you swung to your arms beyond. You were up there with the champions, you know what that's about. You brought to us your friendship, through the joy and through the tears. So thanks a lot for coming, and we'll see you in 4 years. And now the gates are over, and doors we lay to rest. We know that when you need us, we need you.
And the last words were, thanks so much for coming. We'll see you in 4 years. And that's in Edinburgh, 86. applause there. Matilda wants to do an encore. She's done a complete pirouette down to the far end of the track before she leaves the scene, I should think, for the last time. And the crowd in that area went absolutely wild.
Organised and arranged by Tommy Tika, a very well-known Sydney musical organiser.
And once again, our congratulations to the ABC Production Display Unit for their tremendous performance. The executive producer there, Rick Birch, for organising not only the opening ceremony, but also that closing ceremony display. It went a bit longer than they expected, but who cares about that? Doesn't mean very much at all. We're coming up now with the closing ceremony. We should go on till around about 5:15, and perhaps a little bit after that. So those of you watching, I presume that many of you all day are going to get a little bit of bonus. It's been a bit longer than usual, but they did anticipate an end around about 4:30, but it's going to be a bit longer than that.
You notice, Norman, just before that last shot, the victory flags on the victory ceremony flagpoles have all been adjusted to the same height. We're going to see the significance of that during the closing stages of the ceremony.
Well, Her Majesty the Queen now is moving round to the saluting dais. The crowd round her standing to their feet, and Her Majesty will be escorted by His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Sir Alexander Ross, the Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, Mr. Mbati, Les Martin. Mr. Mbati, of course, is the Vice President. Mr. Les Martin is the Chairman of the Association in Australia, and Sir Edward Williams is the Chairman of the Foundation here in Brisbane. They'll take up their point at the saluting dais, and then the parade of teams. It's a much shorter parade in the closing ceremony. The teams come on, only selected members of those teams, a standard bearer, the General Manager, and 3 athletes. And they march on 3 abreast, so the actual parade itself only takes about 12 or 15 minutes. So here's Her Majesty. To the right there was Sir Alexander Ross, and the mass band strike up, and the closing ceremony parade is about to begin. great performance by him. And he was the 200-metre medley swimmer. With the crowd here, 60,000 outside the fence, probably 3,000 or 4,000 officials inside the fence and all the athletes. At the moment, I'd say something like 65,000, 66,000 people here at this ceremony. And what a beautiful day it is in Brisbane to close these games. The introduction now on the scoreboard to Canada, the Bahamas and Barbados, leading the first group through. The salute to be taken by Her Majesty the Queen, and on her right, His Royal Highness, the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh.
I don't think many of us in the stadium today will forget the atmosphere in that final race. I hate to keep referring back to it, but it was really quite the most extraordinary race I've ever seen. It was like a grand final atmosphere. Everybody cheering for Raylene.
You see in the background England and the Falkland Islands marching beside each other. Next group to take the salute are Bermuda, Botswana and the Cayman Islands.
Bermuda. England, of course, finished, was it 1 or 2 got medals ahead of us on the day, Norman?
Yes, only one.
One medal.
108 to 107, so it's a great result for the games. Vanuatu there coming through, one of the newer countries appearing in these games for the first time. The salute being taken now by Cyprus, England and the Falkland Islands. They're the Falkland Islands, a small team there over on the far side. Only 2 shooters, and that's the view looking down along to the straight.
I wonder what the Edmonton organisers are thinking as they're watching now.
There's
Not
Australia.
Edmonton,
Lisa
pardon
Curry
me.
over there.
The Edinburgh, sorry.
Well, they have to do something about this, don't they?
Well, I
It's a
wouldn't
hard
like to
act
be
to follow.
trying. It is.
Brave people of Gibraltar. It's in the background. They win a gold medal in the
Narrowly
games.
Fairhall. And the crowd giving her a big welcome. When you consider the extra determination that somebody like her must have to have, it's quite overpowering, really. Narrowly Fairhall coming up to the dais.
And Robert D. Costello is marching behind the Australian flag. I see the General Manager Jim Barry and also, of course, the standard bearer Lisa Curry. Only one group to go through, and then we have the Australians behind them. There they are, Lisa Curry there, very proud of the Australian flag. I remember in the last Commonwealth Games in Edmonton, it was Tracy Wickham who carried the flag on the closing ceremony. Well, we picked out a couple of them. That's Robert D. Costello. There he is. He's in there. How can the marathon runner, after 24 hours or so, or just a little over a day, come out in a parade like this? But he looks absolutely fit. Look at him.
Great draw.
Deacon, what a report he's getting. And Dean Lucan, the big weightlifter. The big weightlifter's there, Dean Lucan. I think that's one of the rifle shooters, one of the Australian shooting team there too. But Robert D. Costello got an enormous reception. Not hard to tell who's the sentimental star of these games.
Philip Adams, the shooter, is in the middle, followed by Dean Lucan bringing up the rear. The big Dean Lucan, gold medalist.
And there they all are, the 45 countries that competed in these 12 Commonwealth Games in Brisbane. And you can see them all as they go from left to right, and they go right down to the host nation, Australia.
And now behind the teams, I just had a glimpse there of the thousands, and it is thousands, well they are thousands of volunteers moving into position around the teams. They're the army of 17,000 volunteers who've given up days, nights and weekends to ensure that the games were the success that they were. There are hundreds more who have been involved who aren't able to participate in this ceremony, but they're all now flocking in. Look at them all. And believe me, wherever you've been in Brisbane, you can see them.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, people of the Commonwealth, and visitors to Australia. My function is to welcome you all, to say a farewell to you all. It's goodbye to you all, and a thank you for coming. A thank you to our volunteers. As you see them moving forward, there they are, 5,000 of them. Of them. They've been working. They've been working with us for years in all manner of jobs, some not terribly spectacular. They've done a marvellous job. I hope I don't find out in any where we ever slipped up. Every complex that we visited, every words I've ever heard, you have performed magnificently. And if we made a mess anywhere, well, I don't want to hear about it. There are so many other people that fall within the category of volunteers that I'd like to welcome. My directors this morning ruled that I should make a short speech. I thought that would be difficult. That I should not mention specifically any of the volunteers other than our official volunteers from the foundation. But I can't let the time go past without making reference to the armed forces, who have been magnificent. When I speak not on behalf only of the foundation and my fellow directors. When these games got underway approximately five and a half years ago, we formed a very loose partnership of four. The Commonwealth Government, the State Government, the Brisbane City Council and the Foundation. As time went on, it increased. We had the private sector, private enterprise sector. The people of Australia rallied behind us, and we had what we think has been exceptional, unusual support from all people and all sections of this Commonwealth, and for those people I am eternally grateful. Mr. Noel Dudgeon, my manager on protocol, can I have an extension to mention Matilda and her children? I think they deserve a little welcome, Matilda and her children. I think you'll agree with me that on opening ceremony day, the children of Australia stole your hearts. and showed us just what a wonderful future we have for this country with those children coming on. And finally, my dear friends, our dear friends, from the 50 countries from all over the world who have come here to participate in these games. It's a sad moment to say goodbye to you. We have formed magnificent friendships. I think the Commonwealth has never been stronger. We are terribly sad to see you go. Our friendships will last. We wish you a safe trip home to your loved ones. Goodbye, God bless, and let us see you again before many years go by. Thank you very much.
Around the area there, and Mr. Les Martin, who's the president of the Australian Commonwealth Games Association, will hand back the flags.
As President of the Commonwealth Games Association of Australia, I hand back to you the flag of your country, both in token of our friendship and goodwill towards you, and as a memento of the 12th Commonwealth Games, Brisbane, Australia, in 1982.
Mr. Les Martin will return to the saluting area, and the Lord Mayor of Brisbane will join Sir Alexander Ross on the tribute of honour.